Oh, yeah. Freak out, freak out. Yeah, I'm looking right into the video scope, And this is Macho Man, #1 Macho Man impersonator, past, present, future. Yeah, and I'm here to tell you, you are watching 49er Minded with Bashar. Yeah, the cream of the crop. Dig it?
49er Mind is
It's not just a thought process, but a way of life.
49er Minded. 49er Minded. I can't shake it. It's 49er Mind that I got. It's 49er Shine that I got. My psyche's on another Frisco Super Bowl. Don't sit slow, cause here we go with a super show. A red and gold session about our red and gold obsession. With some well-controlled expressions, let's talk about that win that we got. Who should have been in the spot? That's how they spin in the spot. Let's all that back, all that crack, all that strip, fumble sack. Or just dial it on up if you wanna talk smack. It don't matter what the story on, as long as the story aligns with a 49er mind. 49er Minded.
It's not just a thought process,
49er Minded,
but a way of life. Bashar.
49er Minded.
Way of life.
49er Minded.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sorry for the delay. We are here with 49er Minded. My name is Bashar, here with my boy Ryan from No Border Sports. Welcome to 49er Minded, where we get into the minds of 49er fans. And I want to say thank you to the people who've been waiting patiently in the chat. Is that an applause that we have here?
We had got a little applause there, Bashar.
Okay. I wasn't expecting that.
Sure.
Shout out to Ryan from No Border Sports. Appreciate you joining me today. We got to say what's up to some people who've been waiting patiently. We got Jimmy in the house. What up, Jimmy? How you doing? 49ers Throwback is here. Just thanks for tuning in, faithful. Make sure to hit the button and subscribe. Hope everyone's Saturday went well or it's going well. No Border Sports. What up, JD? Keeping it face. Who made the song, Bashar? The song is made by a guy
49er dude?
49er dude, yep. He's been on the show before. Really good guy. I believe you've seen him in person at the tailgate before, JD. He's from Southern California. He co-hosted with me before. Had him on a couple times before, actually. California Man 4000 says, good evening, Bashar. Appreciate you guys. And how's everything going with you, Ryan?
Good.
Yeah, man. I know we had some technical difficulties starting the show. For some reason, it wouldn't let me. I was logging onto the show, and then it kicked my camera off. And it wouldn't let my camera back on for whatever reason. I had to restart like multiple times, but we're here. Well, yeah, man. So we got a preseason game tomorrow versus the New Orleans Saints. Nolans. We have a former New Orleans Saints on our squad right now, which is Isaac Yadam from the corner, one of the cornerbacks that we have. Heard some good things about him in camp. And anything you're looking forward to in tomorrow's preseason game?
Hopefully I'll be able to watch it. NFL Plus hasn't got their shit straight, so like it's hard to get a hold. I've had issues signing into the app for weeks now. I've had for a week and a half now. I've had to like download and re-download and install. It's a mess. So I want to see something out of what's going to what's happening at linebacker. I kind of want to see a more of a key out of what we're going to see, who's going to fill that role. Because Devondre Campbell is not, it's not like everybody's like, ooh, you see how Devondre is doing in practice? There's no buzz like that. And if that's the guy who's taking the spot, we hear more about D Winters than him. So that's where I'm kind of looking at the moment. It's bad.
Yeah. Well, the thing that's bad with this team is the injuries. I know. I'm trying to be as positive as I can be. I'm a glass half full type of guy, but I'm not going to lie and say, oh, everything's perfect in 49er land when it's not. I mean, they did have to cancel the joint practices, which I'm not a huge fan of. I hear Kyle Shanahan is. He does like those things.
I like him.
You like him? Okay. Yeah. And I was just thinking, more guys would get hurt or just something weird would happen. But I mean,
it gives you a couple of days of playing against somebody other than your own team that you don't have to go hard against, but yet still be nice to in the locker room. So it kind of gives you a good change in mentality in preseason. Essentially, it gives you that next step and that bump up. I like what we get out of it. Kyle seems to think he sees more out of it, and I think it's true too, because you're having the other team test your team with their team, so you're seeing what other teams want to test against your defense. You know what I'm saying? You get there's lots of things you can take from it if you really look into what you're getting. So
Yeah, and for those who don't know, tomorrow's pretty much a dress rehearsal for the regular season, which is usually the second to the last game of the preseason. There used to be 4 preseason games, now there's only 3, and I believe Brock Purdy is going to step on the field. I'm not sure for how many series. I'm not sure if they announced how often he'll be out there, but
I don't think they have
yet. Yeah, but Kyle Shanahan pretty much stated that some of the ones will play, and it sounded like Purdy would play unless they decide to change that. Unfortunately, we did lose one of our starters, one of our ones recently, Aaron Banks.
Yeah.
Our left guard, he sustained was it a broken pinky, I believe. And
Yes.
some people are downplaying that injury and saying, "Oh, he should play anyways." And first of all, it's preseason. I would never have a starter play if they need to get it done, get a surgery or get something done and get some work done and get some rest. So be it. Do it in training camp, do it in the preseason. We know he's our best left guard. It's not like he's battling against anybody. I like the guy a lot. Just it's unfortunate, but they did say he'll be ready by week 1. Hopefully that is the case. From what I understand, Nick Zakel is going to be working at left guard, and a few other guys, I'm assuming. So we'll see how that works out. And you know what? One good thing I did see about practice the other day, they announced some things about Talanoa Hufanga, of course, and just for the simple fact that I could see Dre Greenlaw hitting a sled and doing actual physical work against a sled, that was an eye opener. Not like I'm expecting him to play right away, but I was like, okay, that made me feel a little better about the whole Dre Greenlaw situation.
Anytime you're putting load on that knee after an injury like that, and you're seeing a player put load on that knee like that in that type of a setting, shows that they're far along. Not necessarily almost done, but you're not testing that on somebody who you think is healed up enough. This is the time where you're getting your strength back. You know what I mean? You're coming all the way back. You're doing little by little. It's not really a scare of like a setback I guess you could always set back in this situation, but they're not really scared of a setback as long as things are under the watchful eye of somebody who's smart, you know what I mean, and knows let's set him down, shut him down for the rest of the day. You know what I mean? He was going hard there, a little too hard. Then I shut him down. So
yeah, and the way Greenlaw got hurt was one of the most ridiculous injuries I've ever seen, and just the timing in the biggest game of his career, it just sucks, and just totally. I can't think of a better word to say, and it sucks. But God willing, he comes back and he's the same player he used to be. Not expecting him to be, but you never know. And we'll see where it goes, man. We really will. The Greenlaw was one of my favorite players, and he still is. Same with Talanoa Hufanga. Hopefully those guys come back. California Man 4000 in the chat says, hopefully rookie quarterback Tanner Mordecai will play tomorrow against the New Orleans Saints. Would be nice to see him. He's got the strongest arm on the team. He's the fastest out of all the quarterbacks. He has excellent physical type ability. Whether he can piece it all together and become an NFL quarterback is the question. If you pull up his college highlights, he's very fun to watch. But again, that's against college competition. We don't know what he could do in the NFL, but he could be a guy the 49ers could try to groom for some type of role in the future. So it would be interesting to see him out there.
Yeah, it seems like he's been getting a little heat from Grant lately in practice.
Oh, really? I missed that.
Tanner Mordecai had 3 reps the other day, threw interceptions on 2 of the reps. I heard that, and Grant seemed to be pretty down on the young man, which I don't know. I don't think it's necessarily warranted. And we found that our quarterbacks are better in games than they are in practice, or whether they're trying something or, that's just how they are. That's how it goes. So I don't know what to think until we see them in game, until you see some things where you're like, oh, that's something you could build off of. And, you're also going to see the things, oh, he needs to correct that. So we got to see if the good outweighs the bad, and this is what preseason's for. So I expect to see Tanner Mordecai in there, maybe the whole second half. Who knows? I don't
Yeah,
know.
I'm not sure. I almost feel like considering the fact that they didn't play Tanner Mordecai last week, we obviously got a heavy dose of Brandon Allen. Well, I thought looked a bit better than what people gave him credit for. He had two really bad drops from the receivers that would have definitely increased his stat line. And we saw Joshua Dobbs out there who up to that point had a pretty bad training camp and mini camp, but maybe he was just shaking off some rust or getting used to a new system. And at the end of the day, some people are just gamers, and Josh Dobbs made some nice plays at the end of the day. So we got a heavy dose from those two guys. We did not see Tanner Mordecai, and it led me to the assumption that maybe they're trying to possibly showcase one of our backups to put Tanner Mordecai on the shelf and leave him around and not give other GMs film on him. I don't know.
Oh,
yeah, I mean, they might do that little technique, and I mean, Larry Kruger. I
like
watched
they
a
did
lot of
with
Larry
Jordan
Kruger.
Mason the first year we got him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he gets in the game twice, got busted for 10 yards, shut that man down for the whole preseason. Shut that man down.
Yeah, I mean, Larry Kruger sees Tanner Mordecai as a guy who should be our number 2 quarterback. He really thinks highly of him. I need to see it on the field, but
Right.
It'd be very interesting though. Very interesting to see what he can do.
And preseason really doesn't matter, but it's as close as you can get to real game time stuff to really get the, like really practice is not something we're going off of. And to tell you the truth, like watching this last preseason game, it looked like we had a whole bunch of people who were playing as individuals instead of as a team out there. And it was our second and thirds all throughout that whole game. And I get that. But I think that's the difference between looking at the Titans play and us playing was the big thing to me is the Titans seemed like they were playing as a team and we were playing as individuals. Some of our individuals played really well. Some of our other individuals made mistakes and it cost us, essentially the game. But I'm not too worried. But if we're going to win a preseason game, we're going to need to see our second string and third strings play together as a team. So, and it's not like winning the preseason game is a big thing, but it's kind of, what do you do when you get in the regular season? You out there playing for yourself? No, you're out there playing for the team. We need to see these guys play like a team.
In preseason games, though, it is hard to play like a team, you could say, though, because they do shuffle a lot of people in and out of the lineups.
But you've been used to that all training camp.
That is true.
Happened in practice?
That is true. That is true. And then they're interchanging people on the O-line and all that. But at the end of the day, these guys do know each other. They practice with each other. So, and at the end of the day, they're fighting for a job. So a lot of those guys are fighting for jobs. A lot of those guys don't know if they're even going to be on the team. I mean, especially the rookies and the UDFAs. So that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out tomorrow. It's a later game too, by the way. It's interesting that they're doing a preseason game on a Sunday at 5 p.m. West Coast time. So not sure what that's all about, but it is what it is. We'll definitely, hopefully it's more entertaining than the last game. The last game was a stinker. Even though it was a close game, it wasn't like we got blown out or anything like that. Of course we lost, but when you watch a preseason game, sometimes you just want a little bit more excitement considering the fact that we've been out of football for so damn long. And, hey, at the end of the day, we did get to see some good glimpses of certain players. One guy that stood out really quick that I want to point out is definitely needs his flowers, because the little I saw, I wish I had sat and scouted him a bit more when I was watching. When I was watching the game, I literally had just woke up from the nap. Boom, the game was like the kickoff already happened. So, but lo and behold, Dominic Pooney is looking pretty good so far. It's only one game. It's a preseason game, but, on all of his reps as a pass blocker, he allowed no pressures. He did some really, really nice things in pass protection.
He did.
And Colton McKivit's credit, a lot of us have ripped on him. A lot of us has trashed him, for whatever reason. If you watch the games, you may understand why. But, we didn't draft a tackle. I get it. I totally wanted one. I said it a million times last year and the year before. But at the end of the day, Colton McKivitz had himself a nice game too. And maybe the simple fact that Colton McKivitz is just going to have a more game-ready type player as opposed to Spencer Burford, who we had a little bit of expectation for and just didn't really pan out. And, just the fact that you have a better right guard playing next to McKivitz, that could mean the world to McKivitz. So who knows?
Yeah, I was very excited about Pooney's play. Even when he got out of position, he still knew immediately what to do to kind of counteract his getting out of position, and he won the rep. He's constantly moving when he's not out of position for, on a good move. He's constantly keeping himself in position, and he doesn't make contact till the last second, which is great because then it doesn't give a defensive player anything to kind of go off of. Doesn't have like a move where you can swat your hands out of the way. He keeps them back until it's the last second time to attack, and he does it. He does a great job at pass blocking. So yeah, McKivitz, I wasn't watching McKivitz much. Like I said, I had to watch the YouTube replay. It was bullshit. So
is there, if you can link me to that, I'd love to see it, because I couldn't even find, I totally forgot to search one. So somebody upload the whole game on YouTube. Is that what you're saying?
No, the NFL highlights of the game.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Which isn't too bad. I mean, if you miss a game, and I understand it's not a condensed game footage is better because you literally get every play with no mumbo jumbo, no commercials in between. No, but a nice little NFL highlight reel, about 15 minutes of a real game.
It's not
isn't too bad. How long was it? Like 10 minutes?
Yeah, it was like less than 10, I think.
Oh,
but
really?
It doesn't give you a good, like, if you want to look at somebody like McKivitz isn't going to be in there that long. How many reps are you really going to see of McKivitz? You're not going to. It's not helpful in certain things. You're seeing the highlights too, so you're not seeing the plays where both teams looked horrible and why they looked horrible. You know what I mean? Those are the things you need to work on, and we need to criticize. So, or shed light on.
Yeah, I got you. And it's interesting, like you mentioned that, because like those NFL highlight reels that you catch on YouTube, which are a nice resource if you didn't get the DVR, if you didn't get the DVR of the game, you don't have access to the condensed games or NFL Plus or any of that. It's cool. Exactly. I missed like that Cowboys preseason game. Actually, the Cowboys play the Raiders tonight at 7 p.m. Pacific. But they were talking about Trey Lance's performance. I heard some good and bad about the performance. It was like a mixed bag, I guess. And some people were saying that his misses were really, really bad. So I clicked and watched the highlight reel, and lo and behold, they only showed the good plays because the highlight reel is only going to show the good plays unless somebody throws an interception, right? An interception's a pivotal point, but on the highlight reel, they're not going to show terrible incompletions unless it was really important, like on a 3rd and long, and like in a real game or something.
Like a defense swats the ball down, and you can see, that was just not very accurate pass. Like, that's the only time you're getting to see really the bad things, like on a quarterback. And when you're talking about an offensive lineman, they don't care about the offensive lineman, so that's immediately clipped out there. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's
funny. I just glanced at the list of non-participants in the most recent practices, and the lists are ridiculously long. I mentioned Isaac Yiadom, former New Orleans Saints, who's having himself a really nice training camp. In general, whenever I hear things about the defensive backs this training camp, I mean, obviously, we have Charvarius Ward, who's arguably our best cornerback, but I say arguably because Yamano Lenore is basically like just letting everybody know, like, hey, this is, I know it's a contract year, but this may be my breakout season. I might be an Pro Bowl player, or I might be an All Pro. The hyena is coming to play this year, and I love it. The at a cliche, the iron sharpens iron. With this defensive back room is definitely, speaking volumes, because we did bring in a couple of veterans. Isaac Yiadom's a veteran, a proven veteran from the Saints, and he's having himself a nice camp. It looks like Ambry Thomas is going to be phased out. If he makes the team, I'll be surprised. I mean, we got Rocky Yassin in the mix, former Panther, I believe. But I hear Darrell Luter Jr. might possibly beat him out. I mean, I'm hearing a lot of good things about these DBs, especially the corners. I mean, this could be the deepest defensive back room that we have in quite some time. The safeties, Jair Brown, Malik Mustafa had one of the best goal line hits I've seen. I know it was a preseason game, but that was one of the best goal line hits I've seen from a safety in years. I mean, he's got that Dante Hittner vibe about him. I mean, I don't know.
The announcer's voices changed when he hit him. Like, he hit him so hard, the announcer's voices changed. There was an audible change in their voice.
Can
But
you
real-
imitate it?
No. It would probably be a great soundbite if I did, though. It'd be horrible. But no, you said iron sharpens iron. I was just thinking, well, how good would Demo be if he was lining up against Brandon Ayuk in training camp? Think about that lump of iron to sharpen a sword on.
But I'll give you this one because Debo's not your quintessential wide receiver. He's a playmaker. He does play wide receiver, but he's not your typical wide receiver like Ayuk is. But I'll say this: Jennings is having the best camp of his career, his short NFL career. So that's good to know.
So I just bought Madden, right? I just bought Madden. One of the things I had to do was rookie Renardo Green, because I'm doing the franchise. So every week, Renardo Green, Pooney, Grendo, and Pearsall, I got to kind of do drills for to kind of level them up a little bit. So the first time with freaking Renardo Green, it's just a quarterback. There's nobody on the field except for Brandon Ayuk, Renardo Green, and the quarterback. And they say, set hike, and you got to sit there and cover Brandon Ayuk in this whole I was sitting there going, God damn, we need this guy on our team, because how do you expect anybody, if they're on an island like that, to really deal with that? You can't even do it on a video game where it's like supposed to be somewhat manageable.
I forgot to mention Renardo Green. I was talking about the corners, and he's another guy who I've heard a lot of great things about. Now, keep in mind, I heard he had a few good reps here and there in the last preseason game. I didn't really notice him too much. Go ahead.
I heard they've been putting him in the slot, and he's kind of having some growing pains there, which I don't know why you would do that. So if you put him on the outside, he can have some nice safety help over top, right? And he can, which he's used to. So have him play outside and move Demo in, which he was. Did you hear about this?
Yeah, I was going to lead up to that, but go ahead. Go right ahead.
Well, he was talking about, hey, move me into the slot, move me into nickel during the Super Bowl, because at like halftime, he was saying do this before the game.
I heard before the game when they were game planning, he told Wilkes that. Yeah.
He told Wilkes and was like, no. And fucking Richard Sherman was like, no, go to Kyle. That's his team. Go to Kyle. Kyle will, if you got a feeling like that, Kyle will totally. He said like it was for certain that Kyle would have been like, okay, you're nickel, because if you got that feeling, we're rolling with it. This is how we win games.
I wish they would have. Man.
And so if that's the case, why are we having Renardo Green play nickel when we should have Demo there anyways, and let Renardo kind of learn the NFL while he's playing his position that he's used to, and have a little bit of help from a safety, instead of, a safety who's been in the league longer than a year, you know what I mean? Or longer than 6 months. And he might have a better time. We might shut more people down. And then he can kind of grow into the slot once he, maybe next year, once he kind of figures it out and everything kind of slows down for him, then he can kind of move on into the slot. Demo's already there. Demo's like, fuck it, dude, I'll do it. I like it. Whatever. I like winning. So if we're going to win by me being in the slot, that's exactly where I want to be. I like Demo. I like
Demo a lot too. My homeboy John V's here wants to argue with Demo and say Kyle was the reason. Kyle was most likely the one who put Demo outside. I don't know. There's a lot of it just sucks, man. It just sucks.
It wasn't just that. It wasn't just that.
The way the secondary just fell apart at the end of the fourth quarter and overtime, which is disgusting.
Yeah, especially when we'd shut them down all game.
Yep. Let me see what Keeping the Faith, my boy JD, has to say. He said, had to leave for a few. Looking forward to see what Mustafa could do for a sequel tomorrow. Yeah. Maybe an interception, or it would be nice to see what he could do, and if he makes another big play, that would be cool. Or maybe Renardo Green get a pick six. I don't know. I keep hearing about Renardo Green. I want to see what he can really do in a big game, or real game, that is. And we got Tommy Huxley here, says San Francisco Giants suck ass. I'm like stumbling on my words here. Who did the SF Giants play? Let me look that up. I haven't watched the Giants game in so long. They lost to the Oakland A's 2-0. Oh, they're losing to the Oakland A's 2-0, bottom of the eighth. And they still have time, though. They still have time for all those Giants fans. Kyle never trusted Wilkes, in my opinion. Yeah, he was so quick to let Wilkes go after the Super Bowl, and some people were mad, like, oh, why did Kyle fire Wilkes? Kyle's the one that should have been fired, and all this hooting and hollering. I hope he's happy with the guys now. I hope the players are happy with the guys we have now. We have a dual defensive coordinator type system now. I believe Brandon Staley's going to be up in the booth, and Sorensen's going to be on the sidelines, I believe.
So this is something I think the media has pushed on, because everywhere the media is, they're always asking like who's going to call plays, or how much is Brandon Staley, they're talking to what's his name, the defensive coordinator. I'm blowing a blank right now.
Is it Nick Sorensen?
Nick Sorensen, yeah. They're like, how much is Staley going to help in this and this and that? It's always like, I don't think Staley's doing as much as the media seems to think he is. The reason why Nick Sorensen is the defensive coordinator is because Nick Sorensen knows how the Niners do things. So why would you have the guy who's been with the Niners sit on the sidelines while the guy up in the booth calls the plays? Or there might be things that he sees and he calls down to Nick Sorensen about, which every other coach would do also, right? I don't know if there's really there might be this thing that ever since they started talking about this, I was like, wait, we got two coaches, and every time they get interviewed, there's nothing that comes out of anybody's mouth that makes it seems that there's a co-defensive coordinators. There's nothing that comes out of their mouth except from when the media asks the questions. It's the closest thing that comes to, we've got two defensive coordinators, because they're having to pretty much say that there's not. So,
yeah. John V says allegedly Staley is the Kyle defense. And now you mentioned that because we were talking about Diamador Lenore earlier. We talked about him a lot already, but early in camp, Diamador Lenore was saying Brandon Staley's a genius, a defensive genius, which is good to hear. I hope he's happy. I hope the other players are happy with the guys we got there.
Staley might be there to help Kyle as much as he's helping Nick Sorensen, because Staley is the Kyle of defense. Well, okay, I want to put together an offensive plan. Guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to consult the defensive version of me that's in my room, and I'm going to say, how are you going to stop this? Okay, so when I, in the first quarter, come out and do this, this, and this, and in the second quarter, continue doing this, this, and this, what's your game plan to stop that?
Want to say, I haven't seen this guy in the chat in quite some time. Actually, I was watching somebody. I don't know if it was Larry Krueger or some other streamer. I can't remember. There's so many streamers out there, but I hadn't seen this guy in a long time. Yeah, and you don't stop, because it's 187 on the Undercover Cop, and I got to read his comment in a special way.
You pronounced motherfucker wrong.
There you go. What up?
You pronounced motherfucker wrong.
Oh, well, how was I supposed to say it? Motherfucker?
You didn't say. You said undercover.
Oh, well, no, that's the song though. 187 on the Undercover Cop. That's how it goes.
That's not how.
Oh, well, because okay.
That's the radio edit.
I'm going off of the music video version that MTV Raps used to play.
Yeah.
I never had the actual album where they cussed or whatever. So you're probably right. It was from a movie. It was from a movie called Deep Cover. It was actually the first song that featured Snoop Doggy Dogg. For those of you who don't know, if you know, now you know. If you don't know, now you know. Or if you know, you know. However you want to say it.
Which I believe Suge took Snoop Dogg somewhere and was like, hey, I need you to rap, like freestyle some shit. Mm-hmm. And he just had him freestyle some shit. And the next thing you know, he's like, hey, we're going to need to make that into a song. He's like, huh? And so they turned it into a song because the label had already was like, yep, here's the money for that song, rap song. So
hey, he killed it on that track. He sounded good in the track. I didn't know who he was, and boom, it was the first time everybody saw Snoop Doggy Dogg back then. What up, East Coast Red and Gold podcast? What up, Faithful? How you doing? I had a pleasure of hanging out with her, meeting her at the New York Giants game last year against the Niners, home opener. Just shout out to her.
Shout out to Laura Cat.
Oh, well, that's not Laura Cat.
No, to Laura Cat was there at the game.
Oh yeah, she was at the game. Yeah, rest in peace. It's really sad. We lost her and Corey Davis. really sucks losing friends of ours. Yeah, the game of life, or something called life. Life isn't always easy, and that's just, you wake up one day and you hear somebody's gone, and that's how the cookie crumbles, as they say. But you just kind of got to move on and find a way to combat it some way, somehow. I was going to talk about something. I can't even remember what I was going to talk about because we were talking about so many different things. Anything you want to talk about really quick, though? I mean, when he mentioned Purdy, actually, I wouldn't mind bringing up a video clip about Purdy, because a whole lot of, every now and then Purdy's name is in the topic of conversation, and I thought there was an interesting video about Purdy that I did run across just the other day on Instagram feed. So I'll definitely pull that up and share my screen and run that video in just a second. We'll do that right now, since Purdy's name was mentioned. Give me a second. Just a moment.
No. I think all quarterbacks are system quarterbacks. I think
they got their own system, but like,
hang on, I'm gonna restart this one.
How come the system wasn't working for all the QBs before him? Like this,
that's the answer, Bert. I don't like this. I don't like the term system quarterback. No. I think all quarterbacks are system quarterbacks. I think
they got their own system, but but we're saying if a coach or a team is going to implement a system, that means any quarterback that jumps in there be able to have the same success, right. And they've proved that not to be true.
Right, 100%. So, and we're Jimmy Garoppolo fans and all that stuff. And obviously, I'm a big Colin Kaepernick guy, but you're right. If Kyle Shanahan had the system down pat, every quarterback would be as successful as the 49ers.
Jimmy Garoppolo fan. What?
Yeah, I don't know who those guys are, but shout out to them. I'm going to try to research them and find out what podcast that is. And but I did. Somebody said that to me, ran that to my attention, and thought it was interesting because believe it or not, I thought after Purdy 100% won me over week 1 of last season. Because this whole iffiness, the whole Trey Lance thing, I understand. We wasted all these picks, and then Purdy was coming back from a major injury that he sustained, and I didn't know if he was going to be the same player. And then week 1 comes around, and he looks as good as he ever did. And I didn't even know that Purdy was still hurting up until November, which is pretty crazy for him to sustain that level of play all the way up to when he was fully healed. But with all that said, I mean, despite the fact that Purdy has had all the success, and it's even coming from some Niner fans still after all this time that they're still not convinced that he's the man or the guy, or you still hear the system quarterback thing thrown around, or he wasn't placed properly in whatever rankings came out on the internet, and it's just crazy, man. It's like, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, not that I want negative press about Purdy, but I definitely do think that it kind of helps fuel Purdy's fire in some way, shape, or form.
So 187's got a comment there I'd like to talk about, because I think we should bring this up. Because when I heard about this play, I was like, wait a second, because I had just seen a video of, who was it? It was the Eagles versus was it the Eagles versus, I think it was the Eagles versus the Patriots in the Super Bowl. And they did that
the Philly special.
Like they did the Philly special. And then the Patriots tried to redo it to him. And Tom Brady fumbled it. It's like the exact same play.
Brady's not much for those type of athleticism type plays, and that wouldn't work in its favor. Yeah.
And I'm wondering if Purd Dog is just the same thing, just with a different name. It's just Purd Dog. You know what I'm saying? So, not to say that, I heard Lombardi talking about it, saying, hey, it's not that they're going to have this play that they're going to bring out, but that they're putting out, different types of plays that are kind of specific to certain players on the team. So in other words, Brock Purdy has got a gimmick type of, book, he's got his own little set of gimmick plays now. That's what it seems like. So that's the way to kind of take this news. Who knows if we'll see this one now that it's been brought out. We might not see it till next year. Like there was, I can't remember what play Kittle was talking about, but they had been training it for 3 years, and all of a sudden it just gets, they put it in one day, and he's like, wouldn't that be crazy if we finally ran it? And then they run it and it scores a touchdown. So who knows? This might be something you might see. I don't know.
I I didn't even know the play was called Purdy Dog. Purdy Dog. My only knowledge of the play was that Grant Cohn was totally shitting on it in his The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, or his instant analysis. Here's what happened at 49ers training camp. One of his analysis type videos. And he was just crapping all over it, and I was like, okay, well, I wouldn't mind seeing that because we rarely do any trickery, and why not?
So first thing, shout out to Jason Capter, Niner Smash Massey in the house.
What up, Jason?
Talofa faithful. I'm
sorry, I just saw a really funny comment in the chat. I'm not gonna read it, but I'm just gonna drop it on the screen.
I love that.
Oh my gosh, man. Yeah, that definitely deserves a rip shot. Thank you. You're manning the soundboard. Muchas gracias for doing that. Thank you.
But I was thinking, like, okay, so if the play was that bad, then why is Brock Purdy beaming with confidence up on the podium talking about it? I don't know if you saw that, but
I didn't catch him talking about it. No.
He's written that. Yeah, they call that Purdy Dog. Yep.
That's a pretty. I was saying 187. 187 has been saying that a lot on chats, Larry Krueger's chats, and all these other guys' chats, and maybe they got it from him for all I know. Who knows? I mean, I don't know.
Who knows?
Yeah, I had no idea that was the name of the play until now. Though you guys were mentioning
he'd be a good one to steal some classic lines from.
Yeah. Hey, you might as well make some T-shirts while you're at it. But yes, speaking of Purdy practice, I mean, his last practice, they said he was 8 for 19 or 10 for 19. I was reading it, and it's like there are some people that were like, oh, well, he threw this amount of interceptions and blah 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 blah, and they're like, oh, well, they are saying that he's working on things that he's not so great at, which is fine in practice. Work on your weaknesses. I have no problem with that. If it was a quarterback competition, there would be some questionable. If he had bad days, multiple bad days stacked on top of each other, and he was competing against somebody else, sure, there would be some area for concern. But this is a guy who it's pretty damn obvious that he's well established as our starting quarterback. How he practices doesn't really mean anything because we've seen him ball out in real games that meant something, in the most important games that you could ever think of. This is a guy who's literally told me that he wants to be dominant like Tom Brady in a 49er uniform. So he oozes confidence. He's worked on a lot on his body. He's bulked up a little bit from last year. So I'm not worried about the quarterback position. I mean, and I do kind of like what we got in our backups, and would like to see more from Tanner Mordecai, but this isn't a position of worry for me. So big deal if he has a bad practice here and there. It's like, and another thing they forget is we are practicing against one of the stronger defenses in the NFL. Let me see. Keeping the Faith was saying that just get Purdy out of the game healthy tomorrow. Definitely, he can throw 3 interceptions for all I care. Just stay healthy. Yeah, I think he'll probably just be handing the ball off and dinking and dunking at best and not doing too much.
I want to see him get to the ball, try and get the ball to some of the guys he doesn't normally, like get the ball to Debo, get the ball to any of the starters that are there, and then start to pick off some of the other ones. I heard Ronnie Bell tipped a pass and it got intercepted in practice. I heard he had to reach up for it. I don't know what it looks like. I remember last year, though, he tipped a couple of passes and it got intercepted. That's one thing that I heard of in practice that gives me kind of pause. But that's something that if we see more reps in preseason, that you can kind of get over. You know what I mean? If he's utilized a lot by some of the other quarterbacks and we see that he's not tipping balls, that's going to make me feel better about him, because I don't know if you remember that, but something I was wary about all last season. He gets up there, he thinks every ball's his, he tips it up, and it gets intercepted.
I wish I obviously wish Pearsall was healthy. Now that we're talking about wide receivers.
Fucking shit.
I mean, a lot of people are ripping on him and saying, oh, he's terrible. He's Jalen Hurd. He's, so he's Dante Pettis 2.0, whatever.
You love Jalen Hurd.
Dude, if we had healthy Jalen Hurd all these years, bro, it would have been the shit.
I feel you. Because that guy was nasty. He just, you know what I mean? Like, as long as he was healthy, he was gonna rant. He was like the dude that walks up to the castle gate and they're like, let's wait for the battering ram. He's like, no, I got this. You know what I'm saying? He was just gonna run his head
had
through
only
it.
held up. His back is it's one of those weird things. It sucks, but hopefully we can get something. I was going to mention Cowings is starting. Jacob Cowing, the wide receiver from Arizona. He's stepping up and having some decent practices here and there. Hopefully we can see something from him. Darby came out of nowhere the last preseason. I didn't even know who he was when I was like, who's this Darby guy? I hear he used to be on the Falcons. And didn't we let him go already? I mean, it's like kind of interesting that
we make questionable decisions all the time like that. Like we find people who are great and it's like, nah, we want to see if this other guy who hasn't done anything for 2 years is going to do something in this third year. And it's like, nah, cut him. You got somebody better. You muted.
Are you referring to Trent Taylor? You mentioned he hasn't done something in 2 years, so it's interesting that they brought him back. They actually they actually worked him on an end around last game, and they threw a pass to him in the middle of the field, and he got some decent run after the catch yards. I was surprised to even see him. I completely wrote off Trent Taylor years ago, and I was kind of annoyed that they brought him back again. I felt like it was just a thing that they were doing for Kittle because they're buddies and all that, and at the end of the day, it's like I don't even care anymore. Whoever steps up to the plate and fills out that roster, and if the best players are on the roster at the end of the day in that wide receiver group, that's fine. But I really want to see Jacob Cowing. I want to see Purcell get fucking healthy. I'm not really too. But you mentioned Ronnie Bell. I'm like kind of thinking Ronnie Bell might get phased out. I'm not sure what they're going to do with him. It's really iffy in that regard.
What about Danny Gray? That's the biggest thing I think.
I hear Danny Gray can't separate. I was pushing for Danny Gray big time when we drafted him. I was so pumped up that we got him. He's fast as shit, but I hear well, this is according to Grant Cohn. He cannot separate. So
step to the side and hit the accelerator, homie.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. All that speed and maybe he's just route running is just terrible. I don't know. That's what I'm.
This is. So I told you I got Madden, right, and I had to do the player cut down. First thing, they put Tabor Pepper as a fucking tight end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Jalen Moore was not even on the depth chart when I went to go.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, and I made some moves. I got some. I increased the offensive line. The offensive line's better now. Not like amazing, but it's like it raised the offensive line score by a couple of points immediately.
What'd you do? You made some trades or something? Or?
There was a guy just sitting on the street. I can't remember his name. And he was like a 74 right guard. That's my guy now. And then I got like a 73 or 74 right tackle traded with somebody for that. So bang, bang.
Yeah. You know who was playing? I thought Jalen Moore was going to get the start at left tackle because I heard he had some pretty good reps against Nick Bosa in training camp, and he was making some moves. I'm not sure how he's progressing as of late in training camp. Early in training camp, I heard some good things about him. And I was like, okay, cool. It sounds like Jalen Moore's getting more reps against the ones, and I hope he stepped up his game and has progressed somewhat in his NFL career. But it was actually Chris Hubbard that got the start at left tackle in the last preseason game. So, and Chris Hubbard is an established NFL tackle. He's not going to make it. He's not going to wow anybody. But for the reps that he had last year, he had similar grades to McKivitz for all it's worth. Slightly better grades in some areas. I'm not sure. I guess they plan on having him as a swing tackle, or it does give us a little bit more depth, in terms of only having Jalen Moore off the bench at tackle. And I was hoping when we drafted Pooney, I was hoping he was a tackle like he was in college, but they said they were going to have him at guard. And so far with Pooney, he's doing pretty well. And the thing about Pooney, I was like, okay, cool. Let him and Spencer Burford battle it out. And let the best man win, and then Burford breaks his hand right away, right early in camp, and
it's over.
It's almost like I didn't want Dominic Pooney to get handed the job on a silver platter, but at the end of the day, right off the bat in camp, he shows that he's a better player regardless. So.
He's not going to be handed it. What's going to happen is Burford's going to come back, be the same old Burford, and Pooney's going to have all them reps, and he's just going to be the better option. Like, you can say it's handed to him, but really he's still got to work. He could fumble this. He could totally fumble this, right? He could just decide, fuck this. I don't want to do things the way I've been doing it. And I'm going to do the exact opposite. I'm going to stay out drinking and then go chase some women. You know what I mean? Which I don't expect him to do. But
hey, there's nothing wrong with that.
Well, but what I'm saying is he could fumble this, but he's not going to. He's got a great opportunity here. And seeing the man in the press conference, I really appreciated the guy. And he was like very in tune to who was asking all the questions. And that's it. To me, it shows that he's going to pick up the little things on the line that he needs to be good on there, because the little attention to details, knowing who's in front of you at all times, knowing who's next to you might explain what you're about to see once the ball gets snapped. You know, like if you got Nick Bosa in tackle and then you've got Javon Hargrave on the outside at end, I wonder if they're going to run a stunt. Now, this is very basic.
That'd be cool.
This is very basic, but somebody who's very attentive to detail would see that and go, oh, okay, maybe I need to play this a little cool. Let everything happen first before I just jump in on somebody. Maybe I need to let the play develop a little bit before I, make my move. So that's what I saw out of him. And when you look at his tape, it seems like at least he's putting himself in the right position.
Yeah. So, and at the end of the day, when we had Burford playing, it's like you could tell. I mean, Kyle pretty much told the whole world that, Burford was the starter, right? But did he really have confidence in the guy? And it was like right guard by committee when Burford was playing. It was like, okay, Burford, like the year before, it's like, oh, Burford, you're the starter, but guess what? We're gonna have Brunskill spell you. Last year. But last year it's like, oh, you're the right guard, and we're gonna have Feliciano spell you. It's like they never had confidence in the guy.
They were propping him up the whole time. Like, oh, let's let him get a half a game in, and then we'll let the actual right guard take over. And then, you know what I mean? That's what it seemed like to me. They were propping him up, trying to like get him some experience, but not enough to where he could actually cause an impact on the game, as far as like enough bad plays, screwing up the line, and to the point where they can play him, let's say, in the first half, because they're always saying he had problems with his conditioning. I'm sorry. After the first year, you don't have problems with your conditioning anymore.
No. Well, last year they were saying he built up a lot of muscle and he worked on his body and he was ready to have a nice year too, but he just wasn't what he was cracked up to be. And we all know about his mess up in the Super Bowl, which I hate bringing up. But
they're carrying water for him for some reason. Like I said, they're propping him up. They've been propping him up this whole time. Who else comes out of college and they're just like, oh yeah, let's just let you share reps with somebody who could do it full time and better.
At the end of the day, you just in my opinion, I just have the better player out there. I can care less if we're trying to develop somebody. We're trying to win games. We're trying to win ball games. I want my best players on the field full time. That's it. Period. Point blank. Let's move on to something really.
Wait, real quick.
Go ahead.
If you want to let somebody get out there and get some experience, win the game by a high enough margin so you can put them fucking out there.
There you go. That's exactly how I look at it. Be up by 3 or 4 touchdowns, and then you can throw them out there. We're not going to be on too much longer. We always like to go the hour mark, and I want to mention a few more things. Remember last week, Drake Jackson, obviously his injury over at defensive end. He's going to be out for the season. Surprise. It's just, hey, I don't want to shit crap on the guy, but it's not working out. The nicest way I could say it's just not working out for Drake Jackson as a 49er. We did sign a defensive end who I had no knowledge of, Jonathan Garvin from the Green Bay Packers. Had himself a nice little game this last week, and if he can improve on that, that'd be nice. I was expecting the Niners to possibly sign another defensive end, but it looks like they haven't. And I didn't see much from Robert Beal Jr. I know he's put on weight and is bulked up a bit, which is good for him. But hopefully we see something better from him this week. Defensive end position in terms of depth is very shaky. Obviously, we got Bosa.
Well, we have depth, but it's not a high. It's after Bosa, it kind of drops off. Bosa and Floyd, sorry, There's a
both
big
Floyd.
drop off.
And then Gross Matos is more of like a set the edge type of defensive end. I don't think he's going to wow anybody with his pass rush.
Floyd is not a pass or run stopper.
Yeah,
sorry, he's not a run stopper.
Yeah.
He knows where he needs to be to set the edge. That's how I'll put it. But the moment somebody like a tackle gets on him, he's moved out of the way. Guard, tackle, he's moved out of the way. If you put a tight end on him, he's got a shot to set the edge. But once you put somebody with some meat on him, he gets in the right position. He knows where the edge is, and he knows where to set it. It's just the moment contact happens, he just gets out of the way. He's a little guy. He's very quick. So somebody's going to have to, I feel somebody is going to essentially move, I don't know, maybe move in from defensive end on first and second down into the tackle position. And then Floyd will come off on third down. We'll come off the sidelines on third down.
This just crossed my mind that we're 50 minutes into a show. We're gonna go about 10 minutes more, and we didn't cover Brandon Ayuk's contract nor Trent Williams, and I'm perfectly fine with that because nobody knows anything right now. I mean, the Brandon Ayuk situation is something that can go every which direction. I've heard a million rumors. Trent Williams, I think, I think they'll get it done, but it's just dragging on a little bit.
They supposedly offered Brandon Ayuk more. We don't even know how much.
That's what I heard.
So what does it matter? You know what I mean? If you're not going to tell us how much, we don't know how close you are to where he is. We know what his number is. We know roughly what his number is. You didn't say where you went. They're just trying to get out there to try and put more pressure on BA.
Hey,
that's all.
But Brandon Ayuk is showing up at practice, and some days he's wearing Niner gear, so that means they're going to sign him right away. We keep getting that teaser like, oh, Ayuk was at practice today. Expect the deal to get done. Like, okay, and then you wake up the next morning and he still hasn't signed a deal.
He's doing that just to fuck with us.
He dapped up Coach Kyle and John Lynch. So
I would dap everybody up every day. I would be nice as shit. I might do things like I might bring people drinks. You know what I'm saying? I might bring Kyle Shanahan a nice cold water. Hey, coach, I got you nice cold water. You know what I'm saying? You know why? Yeah. It's just going to make people blow their minds. That's why, like, unless you got something that's the truth, I don't give a damn right now. Because
you can't handle the truth.
Because until Brandon Ayuk is in some team's office with a pen in his hand, signing a piece of paper, whether it's the San Francisco 49ers, the Steelers, or some team that comes in and tries to make, I don't care until his hand is signing the paper. Okay.
Yeah, sign it down. Yeah, me too. I'm going to say what's up to Rick Diaz. Sorry, bro. I missed your comment earlier about says hello, my faithful friends. How you guys doing? Blah, blah, blah. So he's over in Chicago. Really, really good diehard Niner fan. Lady Keeping the Face says Larry Kruger, that is. Larry thinks the Brandon Ayuk deal gets announced before the game tomorrow, so there's a crowd reaction inside Levi's. That'll be interesting. That'd be a fun way to do. I never heard of a Niner, any NFL team doing that before in the past, but whatever works. Just get him signed. I can care less if they sign him and I'm asleep and it's 4 a.m. You know, I don't need to react in real time or anything like that. But I want to talk about the linebackers. Really good. We've covered a lot. We didn't cover everything, but for years, I believe we had Curtis Robinson on this roster for a couple years. I never thought shit of the guy. I know he went to Stanford. Thought, hey, he's a special teamer or whatever. But I've been hearing a lot of really, really good things about this guy in camp. The linebacker coach has a lot of faith in him, and he's given him a lot of duties that are expected out of somebody who's a starter. So he had himself a nice little game last weekend against the Titans. Expect to see a little more from him. D. Winters, obviously, is a guy who I've been hyping up a whole lot. I'm trying not to hype him up too much anymore, just for the fact that I just want him to do his do it on the field. I have him hype himself up, but there are times where he looks really fast and explosive and makes plays. Another linebacker to look for, obviously, is Bethune-Cookman. Not Bethune. Bethune, the guy that from Florida State. Thomas Bethune. So, yeah, he had a few good plays last week. And the other linebacker, why am I forgetting his name? Jalen Graham. Jalen Graham had made some nice moves. He's been making some nice moves in camp, and in general, he had some good times last week. So any thoughts on the linebacking core?
Yeah, I want Devondre Campbell.
Campbell, okay.
That's I want to figure out what's going on with him after that. Like, we got some young bucks, and
notice how I mentioned all those guys and I didn't mention the veteran.
yeah, I'm just saying we got some young bucks that I really don't care who you throw out there. One of them is gonna work. One of them, they might have some growing pains, but I have confidence in all those young bucks. I really do. I think they'll have growing pains, but I'm sure they'll figure it out. It'll be like a Demo situation. They picked on Demo over and over and over again until he started intercepting them and started locking everybody down. And then they were like, well, shit. Now we're kind of out of options. You know what I'm saying? So I feel that all our young bucks in the linebacker room all got that in them. So I'm willing to go through the growing pains with
them. Devondre Campbell, from the camp reports I've been watching from content creators, guys who are attending camp, and just stuff I've been reading, seems like a bit of an uphill battle. And this is somebody, I believe was he a Pro Bowl player like 2 years ago or something like that?
Yeah.
Green Bay? I mean, that's
I think he was he a Pro Bowl player before he went to Green Bay? I think
it was all pro, or not even just Pro Bowl. It was all pro. Yeah.
I think if he's not jumping out at us, I think it's more valuable that we spend time giving whoever the young buck is they feel has got the best talent, giving them a shot to have their growing pains, so they can, let's say, somebody goes, let's say Greenlaw comes back and Fred goes down. Well, Greenlaw can move over, and then one of these young bucks will be, what was Al-Shaair could be the Al-Shaair, you know what I mean, coming up, doing his hard work. So I would rather put time and effort into our the guys that we've kind of grown than to spend time on Devondre Campbell if the play is comparable.
Yeah, I got you.
If it's close, maybe a little under, yeah. If it just because he's a vet, I don't care. If you got Fred calling the games, we just need somebody who's going to do what the fuck Fred says, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah. So
and it was in 2021 when he made the actually first team All Pro with the Packers. I had to go back and double check on that. But at the end of the day, it's what have you done for me lately, league? It's 2024 now. We do have, you mentioned young bucks. We got 3 young linebackers in the mix. Actually, 4 young, but I've mentioned 4 guys. Whoever steps up out of any of them, and I'm sure I love D Winters as a prospect, but if anybody steps up and is better than him, so be it. It was intriguing.
I like them all.
With all the stuff I've been hearing about these young linebackers, especially D Winters and some other guys, like I wish we would have prepped D Winters and Jalen Graham a whole lot more last season. There were times where we could have thrown them in certain games and given them real reps and prepped them, and perhaps one of them could have been in the game in the Super Bowl when Greenlaw went down, because Oren Burks was straight up ass in that Super Bowl. I have no nicer way to say it. He pretty much was, but it's hindsight's 2020.
Like D Winters, he likes the thump.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine Greenlaw goes down. There's enough tape on D Winters to know he's a mini Greenlaw, and maybe Patrick Mahomes doesn't try and step across the line of scrimmage like he did all of a sudden after Greenlaw went down. He never looked at that line of scrimmage like he wanted to get across it until Dre Greenlaw went out, and then all of a sudden he was like, "Hey, I can go out there. The headhunter's gone." So if you got a little more tape on D Winters, and D Winters is across the line over there, and Mahomes is like, "Oh, that's baby thumper." You know what I'm saying? That's baby thumper. Yeah. So things could change the course and outcome of the game if they had gotten a little more time. And who knows? I don't want to really focus on that, but I think that's something going forward we should kind of look for. Is at games where we're up 31-14 in the third quarter. And why aren't we pulling a couple of these guys to get some of our backups some reps?
I saw them very seldomly last year. And the guy, I totally butchered his name, Tatum Bethune, former Florida State linebacker. Yeah. former Florida State linebacker. He's another guy another young linebacker who's in the mix to possibly do some good things. 7th rounder. We do so well in these later rounds, but I wish we could just nail it just knock it straight out of the park the next few times we draft in round 1. Let me just read some chats really quick. John B said the crowd will be cheering as loud as elementary school kids after an offseason has drained us emotionally. Yeah, you can say that again. Imagine they do that before the game and nobody believes it because they think that they're lying. They've been lying to us for months. I don't know. Appreciate everybody in the chat, guys. You guys have been awesome. It's been a great show. We pretty much covered almost everything.
Wait. One thing I'd like to leave with people: injuries on the offensive line. We have picked up some good free agents in the last 2 years on the offensive line. Well, I'd say year and a half. They had injuries. Some of them are kind of injury prone, or one of them's kind of injury prone. But we've got guys that have played in NFL games that are just sitting in the backup positions. So
Chris Hubbard,
Chris Hubbard, but there's a couple others. I did a whole presentation. I can't remember the names right now, but
we got some young guys in the mix, Nugent,
Yeah, I wouldn't expect them to come along right yet, but Zakelj supposedly has been coming up. Like we haven't heard about him for 2 years, and it seems like this year he's blossoming.
Which I didn't expect because I never thought he was that good to begin with. But the fact that they're throwing him in first team reps in practice from time to time looks like he wants to be on the field and he wants to play and he's worked on his game. So
it seems like he's also kind of the backup center in training camp or the second string center in training camp.
There's also Jerry Kingston too in the mix, who's another center.
Yeah, but he's still
young.
Yeah. I don't think they're gonna get the rings, but I just don't want everybody to be too freaked out because we might actually have people that can start on other NFL teams as backups at the moment, and it's not the guys we're normally hearing about. So,
got it. Well, it's been a great Saturday night to do this Niner stuff, and tomorrow the 49ers do play against the New Orleans Saints at Levi's Stadium, the only preseason game at Levi's. I was thinking about going by some things came up, so I'm not gonna be able to make it. But I'll try to make it out to a game this year. If I do go to whatever game this year, you guys will be the first to know. Anything going on your channel, Ryan, over at No Border Sports?
Well, yeah, I got a show with Ted Talks Ball.
Shout out to Ted.
On Tuesdays at 11:30. It's on my channel. It's on my channel and his channel, so come check us out, either mine or his.
There you
there's
go.
That. And then I got the rivalry, and I do that on Joe Stevens' channel, but the kind of days has been fluctuating. So you can find that on Joe Stevens Seahawk Talk.
Yeah. Depending if I'm up for it energy wise tomorrow, I do have a long day ahead of me tomorrow before the game starts. Even I might do a post game show, but if I don't do one, I'll probably be just tired. But if not, I'll probably do a recap on Monday or Tuesday, most likely. But anyways, great having you on. Shout out to everybody in the chat. You guys have been awesome. It was a bit of a last minute announcement of the show, so I get it's kind of a low turnout. No big deal. People are doing things on their Saturdays. But we're definitely thankful for having Ryan on for No Border Sports. Subscribe to his channel in the description box of this video. If you're not subscribed to his channel, check out his channel. The link in the description box for No Border Sports. Check it out. And with that said, go Niners. Keep repping those 49ers and stay 49er minded. Peace. Let's go, Niners. Come on, 49er faithful. Let's get it.
Because it's 49er mind.
We gotta do this one time for the Empire.
It's 49er mind. It's 49er mind.
We gotta get that brick by brick real quick.
49er mind.
Yeah. Yo, we can't listen to them haters, man.
49er mind.
We from the Bay.
49er mind.
We them San Francisco 49ers.
49er mind.
We got that red and gold blood inside us.
49er mind.